the entire world is not aware about the biggest impact that the pandemic has created on us and the biggest threat the pandemic has for us. Everyone is busy speaking about how the pandemic has affected about 7 million people across the globe and what kind of precautionary measures that you can take to save millions from getting infected. And we are definitely following most of it and making sure that we do everything about it to save millions from getting infected. But there is a bigger problem. So what is it? The biggest problem is not being able to figure out the problem itself. That is the exact state what the entire world is in right now. We feel that everything is being normal. No, it is not. About 1.5 billion people, that mostly include kids, elderly people and healthcare workers, mental health is crying for help, and we feel that this is something that is very normal during a pandemic. No, it is not. Why is it normal? When some person who ate something in some part of the world can decide what the entire world has to go through for the next few months, why can't you or me do something about it to change it? Definitely we can. In this video, we are going to look at the very problem that the entire world is going through that most of us are not aware of, and what kind of precautionary measures that we can take to solve it immediately. If we are not going to solve it, then we are going to have the biggest nightmares of our life. So this is your Zingy Indian, and today let's dive in and explore the unexplored. COVID-19 pandemic is one of the biggest pandemics that the world has ever seen. Millions and millions of people are out of jobs. The entire world is flipped upside down. The governments are pressurized. The biggest economy of the world has crashed. But wait, before we discuss about all these things, we have to just think if there is a solution for all these things. Yes, there is definitely a solution. Once we happen to find a vaccine for it, and we know that there are many organizations all across the globe that are putting in significant effort to make sure that there is a vaccine as soon as possible. And once we happen to get a vaccine, we know that most of the things will get fixed on its own. But what if I told you that there is certain demographic of people who would continue to suffer for years and years to come and will still continue to face the same kind of struggles that we all are facing as of now? Don't you think that this is something that has to be addressed as soon as possible? So let's look into it. The entire world is suffering from some kind of mental health issue or the other because of the pandemic, and most of it will get back to normal as time progresses. But there's certain groups that are suffering the most because of the pandemic, and if we don't happen to take sufficient measures now, then it will become very difficult to solve the same in future. It may also include someone from your very house that is suffering from mental health issues which you aren't aware at all. So that is the whole purpose of me making this very video. So the first group that is affected the most because of the pandemic is that of kids. With schools being shut, with so much being changed in such a short time, kids are fearing if their life would ever get back to normal and if they would ever get a chance to get back to school and meet their friends again. So because of this, kids are having a lot of mental health issues which most of us are not aware about. It is not me that is telling. UNICEF, that is United Nations International Children Emergency Fund, recently told that about 90% of the global children population, which is about 1.5 billion children, are suffering from some kind of mental health issues, and it also appealed to treat the same. So I went out to look at various studies that were carried all across the globe about the impact of COVID-19 on children's mental health, and I found something that was very common. Most of the studies told that you wouldn't know if a child is actually suffering from some kind of mental health issue or no for many years from now. So the impact that the COVID-19 has created on a child's mental health, it will be reflected only after many years from now, and that is why, irrespective of whether you feel that your child is mentally fine or no, it is very, very important for you to take more care and make sure that they are engaged in some kind of thing or the other and give them more love than ever before, so that they don't feel that they are left alone. Friends, I want every one of you all to listen to this very carefully. There is only one reason for a child to have a bad mental health. If you just happen to fix this one thing, most of the things will get solved on its own, and millions of kids all across the globe will be having a very good mental health. So what is it? The thing is boredom. It's kind of strange, right? But that is the actual fact. Millions and millions of kids all across the globe are just having bad mental health issues because of boredom. Haven't you heard your child come to you and tell that it's feeling bored? Like, how many times haven't you heard your child come to you and tell this? And most of the times we feel that this is something that is very normal because everyone are going through the same state. But there's something that is very important for you to understand. The mental capability and the mental stability is very, very different from that of an adult. So treating the child equally to that of an adult is very, very wrong. So that is why it is very important for you to address as many times as possible so that your child gets out of the state of boredom. If you don't happen to get your child out of the state of boredom, what happens is your child tends to get into the state of loneliness and then into the state of anxiety, where it has serious mental health issues. So I completely understand what's running in your mind. Every time your child wants to get out of your house, want to get to the park, want to play out with kids, which is very dangerous during this time, and that is what is scaring you all. What if you can't take a child outside? There is so much that you can do on the indoors. Maybe you can play chess with your child, or maybe you can ask the child to just mimic a craft that is there on the YouTube, or many things. There's so many things. If you just happen to sit for some time to figure out what a child actually likes, most of the things will get fixed. Guys, and this is the biggest opportunity for any parent to be a child's best friend. That is what most of you all want, right? Like, you want your child to share everything with you. So by just doing this, you are solving the biggest problem that a child faces. The second category that is affected the most mentally because of the pandemic is that of elderly people and people with bad health conditions. Guys, the world has already given up on this category of people, and most of us have also started to make predictions telling that if at all if you're over 60 or 65, or if at all if you have a bad health condition, then there is no chance for you to survive. What kind of thoughts are we even trying to embed on this category of people? Can you imagine what must be running in their minds? You have to start putting yourself in their shoes and start thinking. Guys, it's so depressive for them that none of us can even imagine. They've already started to give up on their own self. Let us understand something. There's a very thin line between cautioning and scaring, and all that we have been doing is we have been scaring. Don't at all tell me that it's cautioning. It's not at all cautioning. Cautioning is something that you do once or twice just to make them understand the impact that they would have if at all if they go against it. But we have been consuming so much of negativity unknowingly and reacting in such a negative way and making their lives so miserable. Let us understand something. Like, if at all if you happen to blame the pandemic for all these things, go ahead. But remember something. There is nothing they can do about it. But if you happen to take the blame on yourself, there is so much that you can change. Like, literally so much can be changed. I'm not lying. Like, you will start seeing so much good happening. That is what we are going to look in this video. Firstly, let us understand how your brain works. Your brain is just like a piece of bin. Bin? Yeah, I get what's running in your mind. Exactly, guys, it's bin. I'll tell you why. Your brain cannot identify what's coming into it. For example, if you happen to put gold and money into a bin, its value changes. It becomes a treasure. And in the same bin, if you happen to put all the useless things, it becomes a waste bin and something that you have to throw out of your house. That's how exactly your brain functions. It cannot identify if it's something that's good or bad, if it's something that's positive or negative. It readily accepts everything that comes to it and reacts accordingly. So if you're consuming positive content, you react in a positive way. If you consume negative content, you react in a negative way. That is why it's so important for you to stay positive throughout, because your brain too can get tricked easily. So what we have been doing wrong? So let me tell you. We have been consuming so much content on various medias. For example, we have started to get addicted to so many medias, especially news, and we are consuming so much content that may be positive or negative. But you know what? It may not affect you because you don't fall in a category where it's so scaring for you. But there's so many people, maybe someone who's sitting in different room, or someone who's there on the balcony or somewhere else who's secretly listening about what is happening, and they are assuming things and they're giving up on their own self. That is why it's so important for you to start consuming positive things. I'm not at all against news. I'm not at all telling you to stop consuming news, because it is very important for you to consume news, because they're putting in so much effort for you to know what's exactly happening all around the world. But do it at the same rate as you used to do it before Corona. If you used to watch it only twice, do it in the same way. Or if you're so fond of it, do it on a personal level, maybe on your mobile, or maybe even watch on the TV when no one is there around you. Because guys, you have no clue what's going to happen in the minds of other people. They are like getting so much more depressed than what you can ever imagine. So that is why it is so important to stay positive, and we have to give all our love, care, affection to them, and give everything they love. maybe if they like watching a movie, we have to make sure that they watch that movie. Maybe if they like speaking to someone on phone, we have to make sure that they're speaking to that person on phone. By doing all this, these are very small acts of kindness, and what happens is eventually they start to regain their hope on living their life. By just doing this, we can fix most of the problems, guys. So that is why it's so important to give as much as attention, love, and we have to change our behavior a little bit, very little bit, and it's going to impact so much for them. The third group of people who are affected the most because of the pandemic is that of healthcare workers. These people are working day in and day out. They're risking their lives. They're away from their families. And irrespective of all that, what have we been giving them in return? We have become so irresponsible and so disrespectful towards them. Guys, we have to understand something. These people are risking their lives for someone who they don't even know. And some people are telling that is their job. So what is that is so hyped about? Guys, understand something. Would you risk your life for a stranger? Like, just think, would you risk your life for a stranger? It's even out of our boundaries. So that is why they are so great, and we have to become more responsible. We have to start following all the norms given by the WHO to make sure that we get rid of this virus as soon as possible. And also we have to be more thankful and respectful to all the healthcare workers, because that is all they need in return. Friends, there is so much that the pandemic has done to us, and there is no use even speaking about it because there's nothing that we can do about it. But you know what, there's so much that people have done to the pandemic as well, and none of us are even aware of it. You know what, more than thousands of people over 60, 70, small kids and even centenarians were able to conquer the virus so easily. Doctors have been so shocked about how centenarians were able to virus, and they're telling that this secret has to be known to everyone across the globe. So that is the exact video that I'm going to come up in a very few days. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to the channel so that you get to know about the secret of how centenarians were able to conquer the virus so easily. Stay safe, stay positive, respect others. Let's not speak about what the pandemic has done to us. Let us speak about what we can do about the pandemic, because that is all we need. We need hopes and positivity. There's so many people who are entertaining. There's so many people who are doing all other things, but there are no one who's trying to embed hopes and positivity in people. So I thought maybe I have to do whatever little I can. And friends, I've also dropped in links to various articles provided by WHO, UNICEF and various others about how to treat mental health in kids and various others. So it is really informative. Please do check it, and also please follow me on Instagram so that you get injected with positivity each and every single day. So if you like whatever I did, and if you want more of videos, please subscribe so that you get notified about it. So stay safe. Have a great day ahead.